Superstar rapper Nicki Minaj announced on Twitter earlier this week that she would not be pressured into getting vaccinated against COVID-19, even if it meant skipping out on the Met Gala, saying, quote, "If I get vaccinated, it won't be for the Met. It'll be once I feel I've done enough research. I'm working on that now." Minaj's accompanying salacious anecdote detailing her cousin's friend's supposed troubling vaccine side effect made plenty of headlines. However, so did the response. Major media and political figures, including MSNBC's Joy Ann Reid, England's chief medical officer Chris Whitty, and even Dr. Fauci himself publicly accused Minaj of spreading disinformation and encouraging vaccine hesitancy. Let's take a listen.
And people like Nicki Minaj, I have to say this. You have a platform, sister, that is 22 million followers. Okay, I have 2 million followers. You have 22 million followers on Twitter. For you to use your platform to encourage our community to not protect themselves and save their lives, my God, sister, you could do better than that.
There are a number of myths that fly around with varying, some of which are just clearly ridiculous and some of which are clearly designed just to scare. That happens to be one of them. That is untrue. People, I regret to say, I think know that they are peddling untruths, but they still do it. In my view, they should be ashamed.
How can health authorities even attempt to combat this kind of misinformation coming from somebody who is a huge and beloved international star like Nicki Minaj?
It's very difficult. There is a lot of misinformation, mostly on social media, and the only way we know to counter mis and disinformation is to provide a lot of correct information and to essentially debunk these kinds of claims, which, may be, innocent on her part. I'm not, blaming her for anything, but she should be thinking twice about propagating information that really has no basis as except a one-off anecdote. And that's not what science is all about.
Nicki Minaj also found herself with another unlikely but very powerful ally.
Who could have guessed that rapper Nicki Minaj would turn out to be one of the bravest people in the United States? A couple of days ago, we would guess, most people who watch the show may not have heard of Nicki Minaj. And then she tweeted about the COVID vaccine. She didn't come out against the vaccines. She merely said that as an adult and an American, she should decide whether or not to take the vaccine. So here's the point that she's making. Probably a lot of things Nicki Minaj says that you may not agree with. You may not like her music. But the 2 points she's making are worth reiterating. You can't allow people to force you to take drugs that you don't want or that you don't need. It's up to you what drugs you take, period. And if you allow people to force you to take drugs you don't want, you're done.
And now Joe Biden is involved. Yesterday, after Minaj tweeted she had been invited to visit the White House to have her questions about the vaccine publicly answered, CNN's Don Lemon tweeted out that the Biden administration had only offered Minaj a phone conversation with a White House doctor and that no invitation to visit had been extended, which I think is a shame because that would be fun if she went to the White House. Minaj swiftly took to Instagram Live where she claimed she had been blocked from posting on Twitter. A Twitter spokesperson has since denied any action was taken to prevent Minaj from posting, which is actually interesting in its own sense. She also called out Lemon and Reid, suggesting their criticism of her had been coordinated because they're black.
Call halal Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, as salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Yasharallah. This is Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 26, and it reads, "For among my people are found wicked men. They lay wait as he that setteth snares. They set a trap. They catch men." Now, I'd be lying if I didn't say that I'm almost always skeptical when any celebrity with a large following or platform shares the same concerns of the people they've made an entire career of subjugating and misleading. You and I know Nicki Minaj and her congregation of barbs are a product of all the bewitching she's done throughout the years, all the rituals, hand gestures, and symbols, the example of thoughtism she's set up for all the young ladies that quote unquote look up to her. Like a good little witch, she's always stepped up when called upon by her elite handlers. Whenever in the need of a distraction, no matter the target, she's always delivered. And something tells me here that this latest event is of no exception. The Bible says, suffer not a witch to live. In all fairness, for whatever that's worth, because really, fair doesn't exist. Rarely are we privy to any of her charitable deeds. Usually what we see is the spells she's cast to captivate the irresponsible, the disobedient, and plain not thinking, i.e. you 2/3 of Israel. Do I believe her uncle's, cousin's, milkman's, Mima's swollen testicle story? Do you? So I'm not at all inclined to give her the benefit of the doubt. To be honest, I think this latest theatric is just that, theater, and until she says Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai and the MOTB, Mark of the Beast is the RFID microchip, I have zero intention in changing my position on any celebrity pretending to champion our rights, because I know for a fact you can't make it to the $20 million club without knowing what time it really is. Sirach 12:10, never trust thine enemy. Any butting heads with the powers that shouldn't be in public by any lesser luminaries who we know good and goddamn well were set up by the elite to misguide us and divert our attention should be left subject to the highest level of scrutiny. Remember, their whole premise is predicated on ordo ab chaos, order out of chaos. So don't be fooled by their introspective outlooks and their cries of compassion. It reeks of Hegelian dialectics, and Esau is not only the ultimate in playing bait and switch, he's mastered the art of divide and conquer. Besides, we know that saying somebody caught a swollen gonectica zoink and not the more deadly adverse reactions that have already been documented was only said to make a mockery of our fears and apprehension concerning taking the Lady Vanessa. Joshua 24:14. Now therefore fear the Lord, whose name is Yahweh, and serve him in sincerity and in what? In truth. Speaking to the hopeful elect, a whiff of sincerity is just not good enough if they're not speaking this truth. And who knows better than me? I spent decades around and about that industry, and most of the demons left there, still operating today, know how to turn it off and turn it on like a light switch. And put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood and in Egypt, and serve ye Yahweh. Case in point, Nicki Minaj, Juvenile, and Manny Fresh telling you to back your ass up into the precursor of the microchip, and the long list of Israelites who have setteth their soul to sail, pursuant to Sirach 10:9, can't save you. Not only are they not grounded in the scriptures or coming in spirit and truth, but they don't have the power, the strength, or the wherewithal to deliver you. Peter said it best, we ought to obey the Heavenly Father and not men. Back in Jeremiah, for among my people are found wicked men, those that claim they are invested in our well-being as a people and not a nation, who insist they stand on principle and high moral ground, even in their own ignorant outlook, grouping us all together because we share the same pigmentation, turn out to be the biggest hypocrites and the most wicked. Didn't Joy Reid say how we couldn't trust the FDA and CDC when Trump first introduced the magic potion? Hypocritimus maximus, that's the scientific term. Be it Nicki Minaj, Joy Reid, or Don Lemonhead, they were all set up to sell a narrative that 10 times out of 10 is detrimental to we Hebrew Israelites. These are the same people that we are told we should hold in some high level of esteem and regard, but that is of Yahweh's will, to allow the unworthy, who are no different than you Old Testament only Israelites or you Negro only Israelites. Esau can make it to the kingdom Israelites. The mark of the beast is a Sunday worship law or an embargo. Solomon had the mark of the beast, Israelites. It is Yahweh's will to allow you who are unworthy amongst the worthy men of the Lord, those men on the highways and byways and doing these sit downs day in and day out, despite being demonized for the right reasons, which is teaching this gospel truth, like the true name of the Lord and his son. This is all being allowed and done by Yahweh as an example for the hopeful elect on how not to be. Those that are truly sincere will be purified and made whole. The wicked who love their lives to the end will perish. Jeremiah 5:27. As a cage is full of birds, so are their houses full of deceit. As I've already stated, they were set up to mislead us, be it from the newsroom of Fox TV or CNN, or sold out stadiums and center stage in front of an audience of millions, or by social media on Twitter or TikTok. They were set up to lead us into reverencing false idols and images, and to help them carry out the practice of spiritual wickedness in high places. These basic principles that are adverse to Yahweh or Yahweh's laws, therefore they are become great and waxen rich. Jeremiah 5:28. They are waxen fat, they shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper, and the right of the needy do they not judge. They are waxen fat, they shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked, meaning they grew fat while we starved. Inside joke. They've become famous and rich. Quick precept. Let's go to Psalm 104, verse 15, and it reads, and wine, now for all intent and purposes, wine meaning Esau's philosophies, that maketh glad the heart of man, the heart which is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked, and oil meaning light, knowledge of the hidden things, truth and understanding. Most of our people who are frankly still in the congregation of the dead are not privy to make his face to shine, meaning to position them to be esteemed and held in high regard, and bread meaning sustenance, which strengtheneth man's heart his mind, meaning the means to sustain their lifestyle, as well as the courage and conviction to say the things that they say and live the way that they live, again for all intent and purposes against the Lord, ultimately because Yahweh himself has willed it. Back in Jeremiah 5, they are waxen fat, they shine, yea, they overpass the deeds of the wicked, meaning they have become more wicked than the wicked, who we know to be Esau, Edom, pursuant to Job 9:24. They judge not the cause of the fatherless, yet they prosper, and the right of the needy do they not judge, meaning they blame our poverty, our being disenfranchised and marginalized on us, and not the real cause, the procedures and policies, the laws and intent of his government leadership, ergo the wicked philosophies, and may I say the draconian measures that he's taken, designed by his rulership and his kingdom. They know at least in the United States, they don't have the luxury of free healthcare, yet they never question why those who have inadequate access to healthcare, namely you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, who they say make up the minority, have to think twice about taking the shot and what it would mean if you got sick because you got hit with a deadly dose of the magic potion. Shall I not visit thee for these things, saith Yahweh? Shall not my soul be avenged on such a nation as this? When FEMA and the military start rounding people up, when those who sit in a higher tax bracket than you, like you well-to-do entertainers, when they suddenly realize they are just as dispensable as the have-nots, simply because they are too so-called Negro, Latino, or Native Indian, Yahweh's judgment concerning these things will be carried out. As I said earlier, and don't mistake me as a man who likes to repeat himself. Another inside joke. This whole why would I lie about getting invited to the White House debacle is just another Hollywood production, a made-for-TV distraction. Besides, Trinidad is in the U.S.'s pocket. What do you expect them to say? If you watch my channel, then you know there are on-air and internet personalities in Trinidad that are wide awake and know exactly what's going on, which is why I suspect it is at least one of the reasons Nicki Mirage was linked in to participate in this after-school special. Anyways, you'd have to be asleep to not see they are all working in concert to rock you to sleep because they think you're just that gullible. Let's close with this. This is Job chapter 20, verse 10, and it reads, his children, speaking of Esau, Edom, shall seek to please the poor, and his hand shall restore their goods. And I'm directing this to you sellout Israelites that shuck and jive for Esau at the expense of your own people, knowing we are the true children of the Most High. Esau has a lot to pay for regarding his spoiling of Yahweh's children. Ultimately, it will be restored by force, not by cooning or kumbayaing with your mortal enemy. Meanwhile, he sets up the Joy Reids, the Nicki Minaj's, the Don Lemons, and those who pretend they're simply here to champion the rights of those from their communities who don't have a voice. They do this in an attempt to appease and pacify so-called people of color, because the same administration who emphatically denies inviting Malibu Nicki to the White House is the same administration that would rather jab and chip you than give you any form of reparation or restoration of wealth. This is what this is all truly about. Joe and his handlers would rather enslave you or kill you than give you the money. What you don't know, can't see, and frankly aren't willing to accept is it would be true reparations if the goods being restored was Esau Edom himself and his deceitful robbing and thieving ass was placed into captivity just like we were. Job 20:11, his bones are full of the sin of his youth. What's the sin of his youth? Our captivity, his putting us in slavery. His number one reason as to why he shouldn't have to pay us what he owes is because it is his forefathers who are responsible for what was done to us in captivity and not him. But truth be told, he is his forefathers reincarnated. That's what it means when it says his bones are full of the sin of his youth, which lie down with him in the dust, meaning because of the wickedness he's inflicted on the earth in the house of David, he will be utterly destroyed. Verse 12, though wickedness, meaning his excuse to why he refuses to restore what he's taken from us, be sweet in his mouth, though he hide it under his tongue. Why? Because he's in the power seat. Though cursing, deceit, and fraud is sweet in his mouth, the precept being Psalm 10:7, namely how he has obtained his wealth and the promise he's made to you, sellouts of sharing in his ill-gotten gains. He hides mischief and vanity under his tongue. A byproduct of that mischief and vanity hidden under his forked tongue are his minions and appointed flunkies, namely you celebrities and talking heads, i.e. news personalities who couldn't make it in Hollywood. He uses to sell the needy his American dream, really a nightmare, and mislead the people. Though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth. Why? Because he is the wicked and on the left-hand side of the Lord, the so-called Illuminati Yahweh set up to bring about his will. Though he spare it and forsake it not, but keep it still within his mouth, meaning he relishes in his rule and cannot bear to relinquish his power and rulership. Yet his meat in his bowels is turned. Now what is Esau's meat? His iniquity, his sin upon sin upon sin, really his wicked acts and unrighteous dealings. It is the gall of asps within him. Ergo, his evil deeds have backfired and turned back on him like eating something that doesn't agree with your system. He hath swallowed down riches, he shall vomit them up again. The heavenly power shall cast them out of his belly. Remember, wealth is never destroyed. It is simply transferred. All that he took from we Israelites must and will be returned. Our land, our name, our children, our women, our prestige, our power, our rulership. True reparations according to his substance. Let's jump down to verse 23. When he is about to fill his belly, the Most High shall cast the fury of his wrath upon him, just as Esau is to enjoy the fruits of his wicked labor. When he thinks his new world order and great reset is finally established, he will meet his demise and shall rain it upon him while he is eating. The rain is in reference to the chariots and the missiles when our Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah, and the lasers, when the Lord Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shah returns to redeem Israel, to buy back his lineage from the wicked elite. And that's a moment for life. Call halal Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Rakakwadash through the power and spirit. I hope you were edified. Double honors unto the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach us 100% truth and rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. Shalom, Yasharala. Remember, no test, no testes, no jab, and damn sure, don't take that chip. Shalom.
That I could have this moment.